Okay, so today we're going to be talking about dependent and independent variables. And so what I want you to first think about is when you hear the word independent, what do you think about? Do you think about doing something on your own, being able to pay your own bills, or go outside and play by yourself at a certain time in the evening, just something that you can do alone. If you're independent, you don't depend on somebody else to do something for you. So, the first time you're able to make something in the microwave or something on the stove, you're independent, you're able to do it on your own. You're not impacted or affected by something else. So, think about what you think of whenever you hear the word independent. So just a couple of vocabulary words that you will hear throughout this whole presentation is an independent variable is a variable that is not impacted or does not depend on another quantity. So nothing affects it when we're talking about getting a total for something or multiplying something. This variable stands by itself. It is not impacted by anything else. And then your dependent variable is a variable that does depend or that is influenced by another quantity. So it is something that is going to change based on another quantity or another number. And so that'll make sense here in just a little bit. So to determine what's an independent, like when given a problem, you're going to be asked to determine an independent variable and a dependent variable. And this statement here, this determines that, will help us figure out which variable is independent and which variable is dependent. So looking here at this first one, we are looking at this problem right here. Andrew's weight, and we're using the variable W, will increase the more pizza Andrew eats. So I'm going to use those variables, and I'm going to use this sentence. This determines that. I'm going to use that sentence to help me figure out which is the independent variable and which one is the dependent variable. So, with that said, let's go back up here. So, does Andrew's weight determine how much pizza he eats? No, that doesn't make sense. But the amount of pizza Andrew eats will determine how much weight he gains. Okay? So I'm going to come here, and my independent variable will be the pizza because it does not depend on anything else. It doesn't change his weight. The weight doesn't determine how much pizza he's going to eat. So then my dependent is going to be the weight. So the weight is determined from how much pizza is being eaten. So this number is not necessarily, the number of pieces of pizza he eats can change, but that's only changing because of how much he's eating. His weight is actually changing the more pizza he eats. Okay, so this is one that you're going to try out on your own. So the problem is the number of flowers So you have your number of flowers here. In a bouquet determines the cost. So number of flowers in a bouquet determines the cost. So you do this one on your own. Remember to use this right here because this is what you're looking at, the number of flowers and the cost. So the number of flowers and the cost. So which one is independent? Which one depends on the other? Does the number of flowers depend on the cost, or does the cost of the bouquet depend on the number of flowers? So remember to use this statement right here whenever you're trying to determine independent and dependent. Okay, so here your independent is going to be the number of flowers that are in the bouquet, because the number of flowers that are in the bouquet will determine how much you're going to pay for the bouquet. So flowers would be independent, and then the cost would be dependent. All right. The next one, so you see down here, now we've added an equation and we've added a table. Later we will add in a graph, which was so important that we got our coordinate plane down in our last lesson, because we will eventually be graphing these things. So you're still given a problem. We still have to determine an independent variable and a dependent variable so that we can write an equation and fill out a table. So let's look at our problem. I want to earn money. I'm thinking of mowing for $10 per lawn. Okay, so mowing for $10 per lawn. So let's look and see which one is our independent variable first and our dependent variable. Well, here, the amount of money I'm going to earn will depend on how many lawns I mow. So here, it's going to be lawns, because it's going to be the number of lawns that I mow. And then the dependent variable is going to be the money that I want to earn. So let's do, I'm going to do a W for lawns, an M, so this will be my variable. I'm just going to use W for lawns. Let me kind of make this, yeah. And then I'll do M for money. So down here in my equation, the amount of money I'm going to learn, I know that I'm going to earn. The amount of money I'm going to earn will be $10 per lawn. So the word per here means multiply. So I know that if I mow 1 yard or 1 lawn, I'll get $10. So every time I mow a yard or mow a lawn, that's $10 per lawn. So that would be my equation. I'm multiplying the amount of money I would make per lawn to get how much money I would make. So over here in my table, I am going to, let me do this real quick so you can actually see it. I'm going to make, this column is going to be my lawns, and this column is going to be money. So I know that if I'm, like I said, if I mow 1 lawn, that is $10. If I mow 2 lawns, that would be 10 times 2, which is 20. And then if I wanted to see how much money I could make if I mowed 10 lawns, then I would do 10 times the number of lawns, which would be 10, and that would give me 100. So this is all my money right here. This is how much money I'm making per the number of lawns that I'm mowing. Okay, and then this is the one that you are going to do on your own. So every chore you complete, you earn $3. So what is the total money that you earned? So first we have to find our independent variable and our dependent variable. Our independent variable here is going to be the number of chores that we do. However many chores I do, that's how much money I'm going to make. So the number of chores is my independent. That will determine how much money I make. And so we're going to call this, we'll do chores C, and we'll do total money M. Okay? So what do you think your equation would be based on your independent variable and your dependent variable? Okay, so I'm looking for my total cost. So the total cost, M, is going to equal the number of chores I do multiplied by $3. So for every chore I do, remember the word every right here means multiply. So for every chore I do, I get $3. Okay, so now we're going to fill in this table. So if I just do one chore, that means for one chore is $3. So I multiply that, and that's 3. If I were to do 4 chores, well, that would be 3 times the number of chores, which would be 4. So that would be $12. Okay? So I want you to tell me how much you would make if you were able to do 11 chores. Okay, well, if you do 11 chores, that's 3 times 11, so you would make $33. Okay, so we just went over dependent and independent variables. We talked about some vocabulary. So next week we will add on, a graph to all this. So, hope you have a great week. I sure miss you guys. Hope everybody's doing well.